Alright everyone, it's time for the enormous goddamn goalpost shifting of Kamala Harris. She's been told now for 3 months, since she was appointed border czar by Biden, you need to visit the border. Why aren't you at the border? And you're literally tasked with overseeing the border crisis, and now 3 months later, finally, Kamala Harris is visiting the southern border. You know, a week after she went to, Guatemala, and got made an ass of there when the president of Guatemala was running her down. She could have stopped by then, but she had to rest and recuperate after getting brutal diarrhea from the burrito dinner maybe. But now she's going to see the border. See, the problem is this. She's not going to where the crisis is. The main crises of the border are not El Paso, Texas. There's definitely border crossing that goes on in that region of Texas, but the Rio Grande Valley is where some of the bigger facilities are. Like the most famous facility, part of the border crisis, is the Donna facility. It gives me infinite amusement, or would if people weren't suffering like sardines in tiny Obama cages there, because I actually lived in Donna. I might have walked over the same ground that this facility has been built on. I haven't looked at Google Maps to see where Beijing Biden's concentration camp is specifically located. That's the most overrun facility. Again, they said it was a market improvement when it was only, I think, 600% capacity, because before it was over 1,000% or some crazy number like that. You got like 30 kids in these little cages that are supposed to have 2 or 3 in them. You know, surrounded by plexiglass because of COVID. You know, before they were cages because it was chain link. Now they're boxes. So now it's more like they're pet turtles or something like that. And then they give them space blankets, so literally they look like little human burritos. So I'm sure that was somebody's idea of a bad joke. I'm just going to go out and say it. Somebody decided that was fucking funny. Because space blankets, a little bit expensive. Just give them a normal blanket. Or, turn the warmth up slightly. Better yet, don't have kids in cages in the first place. Guard the fucking border and make it clear to people that you're actually serious when you say don't come. Because right now nobody does take you seriously. Kamala was pressured now, especially after a couple of months. Even the legacy media is like, well, we got a border czar who's never been to the border. They thought it was a little bit strange. So now finally she goes, but then she goes to El Paso. And it's a deflection, and the legacy media is letting her get away with it. Oh, finally, yay, Kamala's visiting the border. They'll go and take selfies, and they'll ask her about all the cookies she brought for the little children and stuff. And she'll have a photo op in front of a mostly emptied room. See, they'll clear the room, photo op style, you know where that one comes from. They'll clear the room, and she'll be with 3 or 4 very cute, very carefully chosen little Mexican children, and she'll be reading them a book or something like that. She'll do a little photo op, and then they'll usher the journalists back out, and she'll say, look, see, the facilities are fine. Trump created a problem. Between me and Joe, we've already fixed it. Even though this is the first time I've been here, and I hate being around all of these people that I consider to be inferior to myself, and you know that Kamala thinks that way. She thinks that about basically everyone, I think. Probably including her own fucking husband. Anyway, he goes to the border. Is there one legacy media report on CNN, MSNBC, any of these groups? Are any of them criticizing her for not going to any of the main overrun facilities and allowing journalistic access? Nope. It's a wall of bobblehead goddamn smiley faces. These people think that Kamala Harris is the best thing since Joe Biden's goddamn ice cream. And so they're not going to pressure her. They'll go along with the lie. The lie that'll be told is everything's fine. She'll take a few softball questions, and then she'll go about her business pretending to care about the border because she really doesn't. That's what's going to happen. I find it kind of sickening that these morons are allowed to get away with this. That there should be some attempt to hold them accountable. And keep in mind, the polling for the Biden administration is collapsing despite push polls and non-stop positive 24/7 wall-to-wall coverage. Even then, if you can't make it under those conditions and be like the most popular fucking president of the modern era, with literally a lapdog media that at this point is almost literally taking marching orders from you, then my goodness, what would happen if they were actually held to account? It's like with Biden's nuclear weapons comments. If Trump had made them, all these people would be shitting their pants talking about the 25th Amendment and treason and things like that. Biden doesn't, and I guess the insinuation is, well, he's demented anyway, so we're not going to push the issue too much, but Kamala's not demented. She's a psycho, she's kind of evil, but she's not demented. She's only in her mid-50s. Alzheimer's hasn't visited its blessing upon her like it has Joe yet. She's still not going to the border. She's going to one of the more minor points in the border where the conditions are considerably better, and ignoring several other locations that are still completely fucked. The Rio Grande Valley crossing area is completely fucked. She goes to the most far out there part of Texas possible for a reason. The sheriffs down there and all the other officials have been saying now for several months, we can't even go after illegals at the moment because we're just trying to process the asylum seekers. But there are so many, we don't even have the resources to do that. You get a huge backlog for months and months, and a little bit of a problem now, isn't it? And the thing is, of course, most of these people, technically, they shouldn't be allowed to seek asylum. There's a safe third country. I guess Biden has abandoned the concept of that, but it's still there according to international norms. Oh, he should be good. I always hear about how the international community is so important. The United States is one of many great nations. Okay, well then, for once then, go by the global standard, which is that there's no reason to take asylum seekers if there's a safe third country that's closer. But see, that's an element of globalism Biden doesn't want, because he wants these people in the U.S. to be political pawns and serfs. That's basically what he wants. And Kamala Harris wants that too. Somebody's got to iron her undies. Somebody's got to grow her food, so to speak. Somebody's got to mow her lawn. This is how these people see all of the people coming in from the desperate throes of the socialistic third world that just want to be able to work a natural day's work and make a few pennies at the end of the day and not have some cartel steal it from them. This is how they see them. They see them as less, as slaves. They sit there honking their horn all day about how much they love the little brown kids, how much they love these people. You need to love your neighbor like Jesus. Well, Jesus didn't exploit these people in basement sweatshops to make your designer shoes. That's moronic. That's stupid. What are you fucking talking about? Bunch of rich people who they see someone from Guatemala or something, they immediately assume that they hang out by Home Depot and will do your lawn work for sub-minimum wage. That's what these morons assume. Don't even get me started. Kamala Harris is a rich bitch and a psychopath who's not doing her job, and when criticized so much that she can no longer avoid going to the border, chooses the most secure part of the border with the least overcrowding so that she can do a photo op. It's disgraceful. This is not presidential or vice presidential behavior. This is passing the buck. That's about all. Peace out.